Today's story is packed with emotion, mystery, and real English you'll actually use. If you're serious about improving your English, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss a story. Now, let's begin. Daniel had never planned on visiting Rome alone, but life has a funny way of surprising you. One cloudy morning, he landed in the city with a small backpack, a pair of comfortable shoes, and no real agenda. He had a few places in mind, of course, the Colosseum, the Vatican, the famous squares, but mostly he just wanted to wander. From the moment he stepped out of the station, something about the city pulled him in. He wasn't sure if it was the warm air, the sound of the Italian language floating around him, or the way the old buildings seemed to whisper stories. All he knew was that his feet wouldn't stop moving. He didn't walk like a tourist. He didn't have a map in hand or a camera hanging from his neck. He just walked, letting the streets guide him. Down narrow alleys and across quiet plazas, past flower shops and cafes filled with the smell of espresso, Daniel felt like the city was wrapping him in a warm, mysterious hug. By early afternoon, he was somewhere completely unfamiliar. The crowds were gone. The souvenir stands were behind him. It was quiet, almost too quiet, but peaceful. He turned a corner and saw it, a tiny fountain hidden between two tall stone buildings. It wasn't the famous Trevi fountain. In fact, it didn't even have a name on any tourist sign. It was round and old, with cracks on the side and a statue of a woman holding a jar in the center. Water trickled gently into the basin. There was no one else around. Daniel stopped. Something about the fountain made him pause. He stepped closer. Coins lay at the bottom, a few bright, a few faded. Clearly, other people had stood here before, probably hoping for something. For what? Love? Luck? A second chance? He reached into his pocket and pulled out a single coin. It wasn't anything special, just a regular coin he had received with his morning coffee. He turned it between his fingers, then looked around again. Still no one. And that's when he did it. He closed his eyes and made a wish. Not the kind of wish you make when you blow out birthday candles or break a wishbone. This one came from somewhere deeper. He wished for something he hadn't said out loud in years. Something even he didn't fully understand. With a soft breath, he tossed the coin over his shoulder. The splash was small, almost silent. He opened his eyes. Nothing had changed. Or maybe everything had. As he turned to leave, Daniel felt something strange, not magical exactly, but different, lighter, like he had just let go of something heavy he didn't realize he had been carrying. He kept walking. The streets remained quiet, but now the silence felt welcoming. He passed a bakery with loaves of bread cooling by the window, a couple laughing softly as they shared a sandwich, and a cat stretching on the steps of an old church. Later, he stopped by a street vendor and bought a small sandwich with thick mozzarella and sun-dried tomatoes. He sat by a stone wall and ate it slowly, watching the way the sunlight warmed the terracotta roofs around him. He didn't think about his phone. He didn't check the time. He didn't worry about what he was supposed to see next. Something had shifted. For the rest of the day, Daniel let his feet take him wherever they pleased. He found a hidden bookstore where a friendly old man handed him a book in Italian with a knowing smile. He passed by a little girl chasing pigeons, laughing so hard she nearly fell over. And just before sunset, he ended up at a bridge overlooking the river. The water reflected the fading sky, and Daniel stood there for a long time, thinking about the wish he had made. He didn't know if it would come true, but for the first time in a long time, he didn't feel like he needed it to. That night, back at his small rented room, he sat by the window and looked out at the city lights. He didn't write about his day. He didn't take any photos. He simply sat there, letting the feelings settle into his bones. The next morning, he found the fountain again. It was still quiet, still hidden, still beautiful. This time, he didn't make another wish. He just smiled, touched the edge of the fountain with his fingers, and walked away. Maybe one day he would return. Maybe not. But no matter what, he would never forget that one quiet afternoon in Rome. The day he made a wish that somehow changed everything, even if nothing had visibly changed at all. Without realizing it, you learned natural English phrases like wrapping him in a hug, let go of something heavy, passed by, let his feet take him, and more. These are useful structures you can use in your everyday conversations. And because you experience them in a story, you'll remember them better. That's the magic of story-based learning. It makes the language stick. And we publish a new story every single day. Now it's your turn. Have you ever made a wish in a new place? What would you wish for if you found a hidden fountain in Rome? Leave your answer in the comments. And don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell. We'll see you again tomorrow for another unforgettable story.